right, what is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to episode 1171, Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. However you are taking in this podcast, I do appreciate you guys very, very much. Big shout out to both our sponsors, Sunny Reds, 1841 Aber Road, and also Imperial Pizza. 2 locations, Main Street near Canisius College, and also 1035 Aber Road, deep in the heart of South Buffalo. All right, podcast is normal. This is our Monday podcast. On the video side, we are live around 9 p.m. or so on a Sunday night. The Buffalo Bills come off their bye and put one on the Carolina Panthers, 40-9, behind 216 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns from James Cook, a defense that had 7 sacks on the day and 2 takeaways. A lot of people are complaining about the Buffalo passing game. I totally get it. We're going to talk about that, the good, a lot of good, the bad, a little bit of that, the ugly, bad injury, other things as well revolving this game and other things. As usual, my guy Joe from Queens in the house with me, man. What's going on?
How's it going, man? Living the dream. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Let me get a beer. I
Gonna get a beer.
I had a couple beers today, so it's when you have a couple beers while watching the game, I kind of forget about this tradition sometimes. But
well, what do you got there, man?
A friend of mine gave this to me. It's a New England brew company. It's a Sea Hag. So it's from the New England Brewing Company. It's called a Sea Hag. It's an IPA. It's one of the first craft beers packaged. That's 3 malts. I don't know what the alcohol level is. It's in Woodbridge, Connecticut. It's brewed. And 6.2%. So
nice.
Bottoms up. Yeah, I don't know. You know, one thing I do, this is why I love beer, is craft beer in general. It's like you trade beers with people. Like the person that gave this to me, it was one of those, like I went to their house. We were like my family, their family. We hung out. And I brought like 5 of my beers and we exchanged them. And it's kind of a cool thing. It's something that I think bars should do, like craft beer places should do, where you can bring your own beer and trade with someone, but then you have to maybe pay like a fee. Like, you come in, you got to buy food or something, and you can like trade with people.
Right.
Anyway, that's a great idea. So steal it, whoever wants to.
There's a lot of activity already going on in the live chat, man. It's good to have everybody. My guy Chooch, lots of regulars here in the house. Appreciate you all. Kind of want to make sure I stay focused on what we're going to do as well. Before we get into live reactions from this game, and I kind of sort of got a format. I mean, look, when you win 40-9, there really shouldn't be too much negativity in a show, but there's certainly some concerning things. One on the field for this game we'll talk about. One potentially long-term, a significant injury to Ed Oliver. That really sucked. But you poured your beer, you had a drink, which, by the way, it's one more beer than I've had this weekend. I've been kind of on the wagon a little bit lately after a couple of weeks ago when I spent 3 days recovering. But
it won't be Pat's wife that makes him quit drinking. It's going to be the podcast of missing a show that will make Pat quit drinking.
It might be. It might be. Yeah. All right, so listen, Friday is actually Halloween, but there's a lot of, a lot of celebrating going on this week, a lot of parties, a lot of bar parties. I've seen tons of costume parties. Checked out your Instagram, peeped it out. I did get permission from the missus to share this.
Yeah,
but
Mrs.
It was Halloween
Joe
weekend for Joe from Queens and fam.
In
Queens as well. If you're watching on the video side, you can see it. Joe's dressed up as Darth Vader.
Yeah.
My wife Leia.
My wife made that costume, the Darth Vader one. I mean, aside the helmet I bought, or she bought it for me, and it's like a genuine helmet. And she made Andy's costume as well. That's actually a jailbird. It's a jail, like a guy in a prisoner's outfit, and then she put the thing over that Luke used to say. So used to wear, and then she was Padme. So I know you're not a Star Wars guy, but we're the Skywalker family, basically.
That's cool, man. It looks good.
So it was fun. It was good.
It looks good. Let's start this way. And again, a lot of people are just already jumping into comments about things we'll get to a semi-orderly anyway, so I don't want to throw them up there right off the bat, but I do appreciate everybody engaging in the live chat. Keep doing that. Beyond the score, okay, the Bills, again, they won 40-9. This game was never really in doubt. The Bills were a 7-point favorite. They were the better team. They played like the better team. But there's two big stories coming out of this game. They're both negative. So I don't want to have a Debbie Downer type podcast when the Bills win a game by 31 points after they had lost 2 in a row against a team, say what you will, but they had won 3 in a row as well, and they were 4-3 coming in. So it kind of felt at least somewhat like a test. And there's a lot of good things to get to, but let's knock off in the first part of the show the two big stories on the bad side. We're going to see, I believe now, over the next 8 to 9 days, how all in Brandon Beane is, because the trade deadline is, well, it's not this week, it's the following Tuesday at 4 p.m. And wide receiver and safety were two positions that already were being discussed, and we'll talk about wide receiver in just a minute here. But I think you can add defensive tackle now to that mix. Ed Oliver left the game late in the second quarter. I saw the replay too. You could kind of see it didn't look like that much, but it doesn't take too much to tear a bicep. We don't know that it's torn. It's not official, but he left that game. He was ruled out for the remainder of the game like 3 minutes later. That's never good. There is a realistic chance. Brace yourself for the possibility of a torn bicep. And if that is the case, best case, he probably gets back in 2 months. Maybe 3, maybe not at all. I would say minimum regular season, end of the regular season for Ed Oliver. So that sucks because he has been by a mile the best Bills defender on this football team. And you saw some of that today. He had a sack in this game. He had a tackle for a loss. He was playing great yet again. He looked great in Atlanta. Of course, the Baltimore game. He's been rock solid, man. And this position has gotten really depleted with injury this season. So Ed Oliver is down. You got to assume best case scenario, he probably goes on IR and he misses a month. And I feel like that's best case scenario right there off the bat. Almost kind of gets me feeling like the Bills won the battle but lost the war feeling, at least a little bit, because of the price they paid to win this football game. They have to go get a guy via trade. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm not saying it's going to be an all-pro, but they got to get something, I believe, that's better than Zion Logue or maybe Jordan Phillips, who's kind of limited, although he did have a sack. Everybody had a sack today.
Everyone had a sack.
Yeah, I was going to say, but Ed Oliver injury, Joe, this is a big blow. I would consider, like, Ed Oliver is to the defense what James Cook is to the offense. That's how I feel about it. Maybe that's a little much. Maybe you don't agree. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a big loss, and I'm hoping that maybe he's misdiagnosed and like they were like, oh, he has something, and they find out later he doesn't. It's a huge loss. Their defensive line, look, the defensive line rotation of doom, that's like 75 of these guys. A lot of them are kind of interchangeable for me, like on any given like Sunday for the most part. Ed Oliver's a guy that I think stands on his own, as you said. So on one hand, yeah, do they need another defensive tackle? Sure, but I will say this, as I just said, they love the rotation. So
yeah,
it's not like
they're short body. They're physically short bodies now.
I know, but they could just pick up some asshole like off the streets, like Lavelle Joseph or whatever, that guy they signed a couple years ago, and they got him in November. Like I can't see them just all of a sudden being like, we're gonna give up a second rounder for a defensive tackle that for the most part they have Ed Oliver there, he was there, but it's not like he's done, he's done for his career. So I don't know, like, you want to really go balls to the wall. This is where like Obijobi, whatever the hell his name is, I can never say his name.
I'll throw out a name for you. He's familiar. You know him, Bill.
Oh God, yeah. I already saw
Harrison
Mafia
Phillips.
I saw Mafia Matt tweet that out. Yeah, I'm sure the Bills.
Harrison Phillips is a guy, man, that
the Bills bro beat would love him to come back because he's Mr. Quote.
Well, he's better than Zion Logue. That's what I'm saying. They need to do something. I know you're going to disagree with me, so let's just get this out at the beginning of the show. I think defensive tackle right now is just as big of a priority than wide receiver, and I know you're not going to agree with that.
No, you dipshit. I do agree with that right now because it's pretty thin up there. I have said this before. I'm going to say it again. If they want to go get me good players, that's it. I know it's a cliche thing. Like, if they want to get me a great safety, fine. If they want to give me a great cornerback, fine. I would like a wide receiver more. I think it is a missing part. But yeah, you're right, because Ed Oliver is their defensive MVP.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I agree, like in terms of it's very close, but like as of right now, I will give you that I would like all of them. I would like the dipshit GM who loves to talk shit on other shows and be like, oh look, I'm the greatest GM of all time. I mean, he doesn't say that, but I like him, Mr. Like he's writing all these checks in the offseason, how great this roster is to fucking get up his ass and like, yeah, it would be nice if he added some guys, but I don't know what they're gonna do. But yeah,
Well,
I agree. I agree. The Ed Oliver, it's a huge loss. It's also this is their the only thing I could say that it would lower the loss is again they love that little defensive line rotation of doom that they have, but they already hurt up there as well. So
that's what I'm saying. So you
yeah,
go through this position, okay, and Larry Ogunjobi returns, and he played reasonably well in this game. He was fine. He didn't play bad. Nobody on the defensive line played bad. And we'll talk about that in a few. But, all right, so you get Ogunjobi back. But you look at these injuries, and you're going back to training camp. So Dwayne Carter is out for the season. He tears his Achilles. And this was a position where I thought there were too many guys at one point. But so now Dwayne Carter is done. TJ Sanders, the guy that you traded up for in the second round, he's on IR. We don't know when or if he's going to be back this season. At the time, I'm like, you know what? Oliver's there, Dwayne or Deion Walker, Daquan. Like, he's all right because TJ Sanders was struggling anyway. He was not playing well. But right now, man, it would be really nice if he was still in the lineup and getting reps and getting better, because that would be a good guy to kind of pick up the slack for Ed. But that's not an option. Daquan Jones popped his calf. This is another big injury now against Atlanta, their last game before the bye. And he's week to week. He did not practice at all this week, so I don't think you can count on him for at least another week or two. So right now you have Deion Walker, who's a rookie. Larry Ogunjobi is now the second best defensive tackle on this team all of a sudden for now. And you have Jordan Phillips, it was a practice squad elevation. Surely he'll be signed to the 53-man roster this week. So that's only 3 defensive tackles with Jordan Phillips. So you got to go get another guy. Zion Logue, to me, I don't know. I feel like you got to do better. I don't know who it is. Malik Collins, Chris Trapassa was talking about him from Cleveland, a pretty good pass rusher that might be a rental. But you got to do something. This, to me, has become priority number one. And it just really sucks to lose him in this game.
And it's injuries just are things that happen, and a lot of it is luck. And I remember like 5-6 years ago when like Cole Beasley, I remember tweeted out like it was definitely like placed for him to do this. Like they made him do it, where they made their little state of the art fucking field house that there was a training place, and all the Bills ball washers, like the content bros and a couple of the Bills beat bros, were like, oh my god, like this is great, like they're not getting as many injuries because of this. And I'm like, what, they just decided to lift and take conditioning seriously? Like, no, a lot of it is about luck. You look at the injury, how it happened. Like I was watching it before, nothing happened. He just popped his arm. It happens, and that's why injuries are just, this is how it is. There's no magic formula or some magic training facility. It's just how it is. And then they've had bad luck this year with injuries, and it's what happens. And Ed Oliver's been a guy who, he's been banged up here and there, but he's a guy who will always, he doesn't miss like a month or anything like that. But it's been a really annoying year for him this year,
Let me pull up a comment. Usually I wait later in the show, but this is kind of like the opposite of what a lot of people, including you and me to an extent, are thinking. Mazviz, a regular on this show, says, I really hope they don't waste any more draft capital on midseason trades. The past few seasons, they've done that, and we would have been better off keeping our picks. I don't necessarily agree with that. I thought Rasul Douglas thought he was worth a late day 2 pick. They got 2 years or a year and a half of him as a starter. Amari Cooper statistically didn't work out, but everyone in the world, including you, thinks that the offense got better once he walked into town as a decoy or something like that. I don't know. Even if it hasn't worked, I don't think you stop swinging. When you got injuries and you got holes, and I think the Bills have a hole now with defensive tackle, I think the Bills have a big need to go get another wide receiver. I don't think you stop dealing because it hasn't worked out. It's like if you draft defensive linemen in there and they've been bust,
Mm-hmm.
You don't stop drafting as much as you would like for them to stop drafting them. You don't stop drafting them because it hasn't worked to that point. So I don't know. I don't agree. I'm not with that. I don't agree with that.
Yeah. One thing I noticed that I wanted to kind of briefly talk about, and I know you didn't put this in our mini rundown, was, did you see the Sean McDermott and Bobby Babbage are now calling plays together thing? Which
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you see that?
Translation. Sean's calling a lot of the plays right now.
Yeah, and how do you feel about that? Because that's an interesting thing. All of a sudden, like, he's
I like
back.
it.
You like it or you don't like it?
I like it. I mean, let's not call Sean McDermott, a master play caller or anything based on going up against Andy Dalton today. Let's kind of pump our brakes a little bit there, but I do like it. The defense is underperformed. It's his ass on the line. He's the head coach. And Bobby Babbage, you could say they're calling them together. A couple weeks ago, he was asked if he would consider taking over play calling duties, and he said it's not even a thought. I think that's what he said.
He said it right after. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, we call it together."
Why did he say we've been doing this together? We'll continue doing this together.
Bullshit. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
I find it interesting. Look, I'll say this about Babbage. There was a lot of hype I felt when they promoted him within I felt like Bill's Twitter, you especially, you wanted him to stay him because he did such a great deal with the linebacker. So I get it. Like, it was like, don't sign with Miami, please. And since he's been here, it's just like they force turnovers, but it's been like, I don't know. I mean, it hasn't been great. And this year, I don't think the defense they're allowing like 5 billion yards a carry rushing the football, but I think it's Sean's not taking it. But like, you're right. He said after the bye, we haven't considered it. Then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we've been doing that for a while. Sean's full of shit in that regard. But we'll see what happens. If there's next week's the big test. We'll see what happens. So.
We'll talk about that later in the show about next week, because I think you turn your attention when you wake up tomorrow, folks. It's already time to turn your attention to next week. All right, so Ed Oliver, that is the potential long-term issue. The Bills may have just lost their best defensive player on this football team. They certainly are going to lose him for a length of time. Maybe, who knows? He could be done for the season, for all we know. The other issue with this game, for half this game anyway, was the passing game. It just doesn't feel good. It's way off. Mm-hmm. And I think the first half of this game on Sunday was really indicative of not just the receivers failing to get open, which is absolutely a problem. But you know what? Josh, at least today on this game, he was part of the problem. 12. Now, when you look at his stats for the game, 12 of 19 for $163 and a touchdown. And he didn't play in the fourth quarter at all. Like, literally didn't play. He was 6 of 13 in the first half, Joe. He was 6 of 13 for 66 yards. And there was one sequence specifically, I had to write it down, that was just really highlighted the issues with the Bills passing game right now. It was one sequence where it was 2nd and 3. It was a play action pass. Josh Allen rolls out to the right. He completes the ball to Jackson Hawes, who does get the first down. But even you don't even have to wait for the all-22. You could see it on the broadcast highlight. Keon Coleman on the second level was literally wide open in the middle, and Josh didn't even look at him. He threw the ball. He dumped it off to Hawes. And then, I think it was 2 plays later on second down, holy shit, man. Elijah Moore runs maybe the best route he's run as a Buffalo Bill. There's no pressure on Josh, and Josh just delivered a piss-poor throw that kind of bounced. It was way off. Mm-hmm. And then on the very next play, it's 3rd down, and Josh Allen rolls out and leaves the pocket and goes to the right. There wasn't even pressure on him, and he took half the field away. The play was incomplete, and the Bills were forced to punt. It's just like bad decisions right now at times from Josh Allen. And I feel like one play really symbolized it more than anything else. And I know you were yelling at your TV. Every Bills fan probably was. That 1 3rd down where he scrambled forever, like 11 seconds, literally it was 11 seconds, and then got sacked. Like, throw the football away. They ended up getting the long field goal anyway. But, man, it was we'll talk about the receivers too, because they're certainly up the problem. They're part of the problem, a big, big part of the problem. Trust, I think, with Josh, with these guys, is a big part of the problem. But let's call it what it is. Now, he bounced back in the second half. He was 6 of 6. He's perfect in the second half, Josh Allen, for 97 yards. But that first half, he was he was a borderline disaster. I thought it was as bad as he's played in a long time. And I just said that last week against Atlanta. He was just as bad or worse in the first half, minus the turnovers that he had in Atlanta. He was just as bad this week too in the first half. What are you thinking, man? He was not good in the first half.
He was pressing, and I think that's when you know, like, he's not his game when he's pressing. He's missing easy throws, and that's on him. You know, this is definitely the week I would say, like, yes, it's a collection of things, like wide receivers not getting open, but a lot of it is he's missing throws, and I don't know what's up. We feel this to me. Look, outside of the Baltimore game, I have not been blown away by Josh Allen this year. He's been okay. He's been mid to be, and that's just my opinion.
By his standards,
and even by he just has been. He's been mid, and like certain situations are different. Like, yeah, you're up 25 against the Jets, so like he could just take it easy, and who gives a shit, you know, and all that sort of. By his standards, he's been mid, and I can go down the rabbit hole of his throws are not connecting. I can go down the wide receiver train that these wide receivers are just bleh. I can go down Joe Brady just dials up too many short throws, and he doesn't make teams don't respect the long game. And let me just explain this very quickly. It won't be quickly. What am I saying? I'm long-winded. I don't need 60-yard bombs. I'm talking like 20, 25 yards out. That's what he needs to connect to Moran. Okay? And I feel like sometimes on Bill's X, the apologists, ball washers are like, oh, these people who want bombs, this isn't the league for that. I'm not looking for bombs, okay? I'm not looking for bombs over Baghdad over here. I'm looking for just like 20 to 30 yards. That's where it's at, and it's not there at all. It's just not there. Whether it's him or the wide receivers or Joe Brady's play calling when it comes to like, I need everyone to run curls. And it's been a month, and I just haven't been blown away by Josh. And this is why, you know, we talk about how much I miss like the old Josh of like 2020 to 2022 when it was like he's 300-yard games every week, you know, and he's almost gone. I think the last 300-yard, I mean, he had the 300-yard game against Baltimore, and it was like all in the fourth quarter, but he's going to get like 2 this year. And I know some people don't care, and they're like, oh, gives a shit. It's like, okay, I get it, I guess, whatever. But like, this isn't what we're used to. And I feel like they've changed the whole like complexity of how they want to do this offense, which is we're going to ground and pound it, which, hey, it worked last year. I get it. But when it doesn't work and Josh is just like he's the most important player on this team, and whatever, I feel like he's been mid since the Baltimore game. And I don't think he was good today. I didn't think he was good last week. I thought New England, he was very inconsistent. And the ones before, Miami, Jets, Saints, he was fine-ish. But in totality, he's been mid this year. Like, sorry, I don't know what else to tell you people. And a lot of it's not on him, you know, exclusively. It's on the offensive game planning. It's on the stupid wide recievers. You know, it's on, I don't know, the fucking beer. That's
if there was I have disagree with you. All right.
What don't you agree with me?
Where I don't agree with is I don't care about the philosophy. I care about the result. If you're going to have a running back who's going to run for 200 yards, if you're going to run bubble screens that move the chains, if you're going to not turn the ball over, I don't need to see downfield Josh Allen. I need to see don't turn the ball over Josh Allen. So I disagree in that aspect. Here's where I agree with you when you say he's been mid. There's just way too many plays where, you know, you could say, and it's right, wide receivers ain't getting open, and that's true, and they need another one. They need to get another receiver, man, especially with Josh Palmer out right now, okay? They need to get another receiver. But there are plenty of occasions, including some in this football game in the first half, probably at least 3 that I could think of where the guy was open and there was separation and Josh just failed to throw a good ball. That is happening more now than it did last year. Last year was conservative. We're not throwing the ball down the field. It felt like a grind, but the difference was if a guy was open, Josh didn't miss him. This year, when the guys are open, Josh is still missing him. I mean, there were a couple brutal. Dalton Kincaid made a pretty nice catch on a high ball in like the first drive, I think, maybe the second drive. And I was like, calm down, Josh. Like Kincaid had to go and make a good play on the ball. I think, me personally, I still think that there's idiotic, stupid dumb takes out there that Josh doesn't have the passion anymore.
All right, I don't want to talk
'cause all
about that. That's
Well,
stupid.
no, because it matters. Because I'm hearing the same bullshit again. Like when he plays bad, that ain't got nothing to do with it. Let me tell you what it is. I think Josh Allen has trust issues right now with the people that he's throwing the football to. He don't want to throw the ball to some of them. He don't want to throw the ball in tight windows because he don't think these guys are going to make the plays. I believe that. I truly do. I think he wants to throw the ball to Kincaid, and he wants to throw the ball, if it's going to be a quick out or whatever, to Shakir.
I think they should get Shakir more involved. I mean, when he gets the ball, he's a playmaker. Like, and they just need to
see. This is what I'm talking about in the live comments. All right, and I appreciate everybody chiming in. I hate that. Josh is doing too many commercials. Come on, man. That's the wrong take.
Fruit. That's low hanging fruit. I don't even want. I want to go back to a second. I don't understand what you don't agree with me. So you saying you like the smash mouth? You're fine with that?
I'm fine with running the football and play action passes and not throwing the ball down the field. I'm fine with that part.
I disagree because I think if you don't throw it down the field,
why? Because the stats don't look as pretty.
No, you dipshit. The reason why is because it makes it harder to defend. Because if you're coming up, it's football 101. It's football 101. If you don't respect the long game, you bring everyone up. That's why you have to make the defense odds. It's football 101. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not saying you got to do it every fucking play. I don't need the 77 Raiders with Al Davis like saying chuck the ball to Cliff fucking Branch. That's all. You just need that. And yeah, would I like prettier Josh Allen stats? Sure, but if they're scoring 30, I can live with that sometimes. And they scored 30 today, but I'm just
scored 40 today.
40, yeah, they scored 40, and you know we've been on this podcast for 27 minutes and we've been negative, and it's all your fault because I would have done I would have done the negative stuff later, but that's all you. But you don't ask me anything.
I look at the stats. Josh statistically is kind of on par with where he was last year, man. And he did have a touchdown in the air and 2 tush pushes today, which I did like. We'll get into that as well. But yeah, I do think the whole spirit of this part of the show was go get a wide receiver. That's where we're on the same page. Go get a wide receiver. But here's the deal. The Bills got shitty cap space, and then for whatever reason, Brandon Beane doesn't, I think he's reluctant to deal maybe more than 1 pick or whatever. But you're on the same page with me that you think getting a defensive tackle right now is priority 1. If they can only get 1, a defensive tackle or wide receiver, where ultimately are you landing on?
Nah, it depends who the defensive tackle is. Like, is it just another body? Like, you got to tell me who it is. Like, if it's Harrison Phillips, I'm sorry. I've never been a Harrison Phillips guy. I thought he just got a bunch of love because he did a bunch of West Her commercials and he was Mr. Mafia, and the Bills bro beat loved him, and because he answered quotes, and you know he looked like Kyle Williams and he had a lunch pal. But like if it's him, then I'm like But if it's like it depends who. Like I'm just not like I want a player. Like that's what I want. If you're
you're saying you just want a good player. You want get another good player wherever he plays.
If they bring in a shitty defensive lineman that's like. I don't know. Like, think of like, even though like Puna Ford did well after he left here, if they bring him in and like it's the same thing of what he did here, it's like, like what do we care for that? You know what I mean? Like,
I hear you. All right, let's do this. We went almost half the show. We haven't talked about one of the best rushing performances ever from the Buffalo Bills.
We talked about Darth Vader, Fat Vader.
Yeah, let's take on the video side. We'll literally be back in about 3 seconds, and we'll start to get into more specifics from this game, including James Cook just going off. James Cook, 19 carries, 216 yards, 2 touchdowns, did not play in the fourth quarter. Had touchdown runs of 64 and 21 yards. He's the 4th player in NFL history to run for 215 yards and rush for 2 touchdowns in a game that had fewer than 20 carries. Bobby Mitchell, Bo Jackson, ever hear of him, and Derrick Henry, only 3 guys that ever do that. Most rushing yards in a game for Buffalo Bills since OJ 49 years ago, and when he had 273. It's the first 200-yard rushing game by a Buffalo Bill since Steady Freddie Jackson, 212 yards back in 2009. He's already up to 753.
And that was against the backup Colts, by the way.
753 rushing yards already this season, 7 touchdowns. He's on pace right now 1,829 yards. That would be second all-time in Bills history, only to OJ's 2003. Thurman's best year, by the way, 1,487. So he's on pace to like obliterate Thurman's best year on the ground. The running, the block, and the blocking deserves a lot of credit too, but the running of James Cook and the vision, like these cutbacks that he has, the way he's hitting these holes, these cutbacks, oh my God, he is been a treat to watch. It's funny going back and hearing people indifferent about him even being here over the spring. Brandon Beane, the last guy that he signed, this core group of players, and he has easily been the best bargain. Imagine if they didn't sign him, the money we'd be talking right now with the way he's playing football. He's been the best player on this team this season, straight up. Talk about James Cook, because I mean, holy shit, is he turning into a legit superstar?
Yeah, it's his fourth 100-yard game this season. He's been their MVP. I think he's outplayed Josh Allen this year.
I agree 150%.
Yeah, he's outplayed him. And look, we know who the better player is, but obviously he's outplayed him. I'll give you a little history lesson, because he had the sixth best rushing game for a Bill ever. He passed Thurman Thomas, who had you may remember this. I know you have a horrible memory and you're an idiot. Do you remember the Jets Monday Night Football game with Thurman when he had like 214 yards rushing in 90? Do you remember that at all? You're a horrible human. So Thurman, it was the same thing. Thurman had 18 carries for 214 yards. So almost the identical stat line with like the carries. One more carry Cook had and 2 more yards. But that was the game where the Bills won 30-7, and they took Thurman out in the fourth quarter. Like same exact thing. Because I remember watching it then, like Thurman could have broke the Monday Night Football record. He was like 20 yards behind, and they took him out. So it was the same exact thing. So, I'm sure some historian remember that game. But yeah, Cook's been great. And I'm going to bitch a little bit right here, but I posted this. Like, can you imagine the Bills offense with how good James Cook is playing if they had like a number one wide receiver? Oh, wait, they did. They had Stephon Diggs, and the asshole wanted to leave or whatever. But like, imagine if they had that, like right now, how good that offense would be. But that's what they're doing right now. He's kicking ass, and he's worth that money. He's so explosive. And the thing is like, Pat, he can run anywhere. Like you could do a toss to the outside. You can go up the middle.
Thank you. They didn't do that. That was, I'm glad you brought that up. That was the first play of the game was a pitch outside. It felt to me, I don't have the stats in front of me, but it felt to me like 95% of his runs were in between the tackles this year. Today, Sunday, they were pitching the ball out to him a lot. He scored on a pitch. He also scored on an inside run in between the tackles as well. But that's a good point. They were giving him the ball inside and outside today.
Yeah, and he was great. And like, as you said, look, I was one of them. Like I kind of was like, I went back and forth with paying Cook. I was one of I mostly was like, I would rather use that money and get a wide receiver, because it always goes back to the fucking wide receivers for me. But I felt there were a lot of people who were saying don't pay him. Like a lot of people, even like Bill's
smart people too in a lot of cases. Yeah, not you.
Yeah, but Bill's pro beat people were on, like, because I think it was a surprise they paid him, and I think there was a little bit of telegraphing, like, oh, he's gonna leave, so let's bury him while he's still here, because they shouldn't pay him. Like, I love you, Brandon Beane, ball wash, but as I was saying, he's been great this year. Like, I've extended him again, and I didn't think how great he was. I thought you can put any running back there. I kind of believe that philosophy, and he's proven me wrong. So hey, mazel tov to him.
Let me say this. I like beating up on a team. It's nice to have a kind of a stress-free game where you just the Bills aren't losing this game. But I tweeted this too. Said part of me wishes that this game would have been a little more competitive, because James Cook would have needed 57 more yards in the fourth quarter to set the Bills' all-time team record for rushing yards in a game. And hell, while you're at it, Adrian Peterson has the NFL record for most rushing yards in a game, 296. That was within reach. James Cook would have needed 80 yards in the last 2 minutes of the third quarter and then the fourth quarter to break that. The way he was running the ball, it felt like he could have broken another 30, 40-yarder. I think if this game was closer, James Cook would have very much been into play for like like a literal team or league historic type of day. He was literally that unstoppable in this game.
I wanted him to break OJ's records. I was like, come on, like get OJ out of there in terms of like single season game record. But yeah, I hear you. But you know, the the Panthers were terrible, and I think that's going to be the big but for this week. You know, we're picking positives.
Can't
about
win.
it.
I mean, they're 4-3. It's all going to come to Kansas City, which we'll get to. But yeah,
sure. But like Andy Dalton was terrible. Like you know, if it was Bryce Young, maybe it's a different story, and then like it's a closer game a little bit. But like Andy Dalton was just abysmal. And I know we're gonna get to like the defense and like, you know, ball washing the defensive line and all that and the pressure. But man, Andy Dalton was terrible today. Like he was not Joe Flacco a week and a half ago. I'll tell you that much.
Let's talk quickly about another good facet of the Bills' offense. What was it was Khalil Shakir. I mean, he had a really good game. Had some juice. 6 catches for 88 yards. He had that 54-yard touchdown catch and run. 93 yards after catching this game. He had more yak than he had actual receiving yards for the game because he had a couple balls were bubble screens behind the line of scrimmage. NGS, Next Generation Stats, said 71 of his yards coming after contact, the second highest mark for a receiver in a game this entire season. Look, the downfield is not there. They do need a guy. We've already discussed this. There's no sense of bringing that back up. But for what they're doing with Khalil Shakir, getting him the ball in space, giving him an opportunity to make yards after the catch, this is what you want out of Khalil Shakir. And on a team that is lacking weapons in the passing game, Shakir had a good game, man. 6 catches for 88 yards, 54-yard touchdown. Longest of the season, I will take that every day. It was a good game for Khalil.
No, he's great. I mean, we've talked about how good he is as a player. Like he's a guy Josh trusts. He's had the longest chemistry next to Dawson Knox on this squad in terms of like throwing the ball to him. I would like to see him more involved. I don't know I know they have everyone eats bullshit and all that crap, but you know, I'm willing to bet when Shakir gets the ball or if he's like north of 80 yards in a game, they're probably have a really good win percentage, you know, and I think they need to. I am for, if we're talking about the passing game, to kind of try to simplify it and have like your best players on the field more often. Like we'll look at the snap counts tomorrow, and it'd be Shakir, it should be Kincaid, and
Coleman had the most snaps today by a big margin again.
Did he again? Yeah. Well, you know, I don't know what's going on with Coleman. I mean, I know he didn't. I mean, whatever. I mean, he's missing, and you know he had a catch, and then I know you mentioned how Josh missed him, but I just need Shakir to like be involved more. Like I want to say Randy ratio, it's Shakir, but like give the guy the ball because every time he gets it, good shit happens.
Let me ask you this too. I want to circle back to Josh real quick. Man of War and Alive says marriage has sucked the Superman out of Josh. Come on, man. What are we doing here? Let me say this though. All right, so we both like Dalton Kincaid, okay? The tight ends have been good this year. The tight ends have performed well. Come on, stop.
I'm not giving Dawson Knox love. Sorry.
He's fine.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
fine for what he's supposed to do. He's fine.
Yeah.
We can't control his contract. Kincaid's been good. Jackson Haas has been great for his role. He had a couple catches today in this game.
Kincaid has been good. Don't loop me in your tight ends have been amazing.
Here's my point. The tight ends block primarily. Kincaid catches balls. He's been good. Shakir is good. The problem is beyond that, and especially Josh Palmer being hurt, and I know you don't think that means anything. You've made that very clear to me. But I would say this, like you go to the receivers, the outside guys, and now again, Josh Allen missed a wide open Elijah Moore. Hell, the safety fall down. It might have been a touchdown on that play. But 1 catch for 14 yards. Curtis Samuel, who, you know, I convinced my cousin to make a bet for an anytime touchdown today on FanDuel, didn't even have a target in this game. And Keon Coleman, 3 catches for 30 yards, which amazingly, that's better than he's had 4 other times this season. That's not even close to his worst game, 3 for 30. You go, and that's where you got to get a guy. You got to get a guy who can stretch the field. I think the short to intermediate with Kincaid and Shakir are good, but they got to go get somebody. I wanted to be in on Curtis Samuel. I can't, man. I can't do it. They got to go, and they got to get somebody. But let's switch to the defensive side of the ball because there's a lot of fun things to talk about with the defensive side of the ball. They literally were making plays. That defensive line, all of them, making plays all over the place. Greg Rizzo, for the third straight week, I thought he had a really good game. He had a forced fumble on the first series. He had a sack right at the end of the first half, which prevented Carolina from getting 3 points. That was huge. Well, it wasn't huge, but it was a good play for him. He had a great game. A.J. Epinesa had a sack, had an interception that he was a half a yard away from having a pick six. So that was a great play by Epinesa. Joey Bosa had a sack. Jordan Phillips had a sack. Ed Oliver had a sack. Deion Walker had a half a sack, and he also had a fumble recovery. And holy shit, man, his debut with the Buffalo Bills, Michael Hoyt, got to talk about him. He had 1.5 sacks, 3 pressures, a forced fumble in this game. Per ESPN Next Gen Stats, Michael Hoyt generated 3 quick pressures in under 2.5 seconds, the most by any Bills defender in a game this entire season, including a third quarter strip sack in which he got off the line of scrimmage in 0.33 seconds, the fastest by any Bills player this season, and recorded the sack at 3.33 seconds, the third fastest Bills sack this entire season. Anyway, that's just a couple NGS stats with Michael Hoyt. Talk about making a debut and making your presence felt. You could see him out there, man. He was really good. This whole unit was really good. And again, take it for what it's worth. You're playing Andy Dalton. But Carolina's been able to run the football, and they've had success this year on offense. Bills' defensive line weren't having any of it. They were great today.
Yeah, the defensive line was great, but I'm not going to echo the same things you just said because I just would be redundant. You're doing it against Andy Dalton. What am I supposed to do with that, Pat? What am I supposed to do?
Look, man, Carolina fans wanted this guy to start all week. They said he's better than Bryce Young.
Who are the Carolina? You don't know any Carolina fans.
Well, it's what you were seeing. I saw plenty of it on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, you and Twitter. All of a sudden, that's real life Twitter. It's funny with you. Like, Twitter's real life when they're agreeing with you. But
people agree. People in the live chat definitely agree with Team Joe here on this fucking debate.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But, like, look, yeah, it's great. They had 7 sacks. Let me see. I don't even want to talk anymore about this Carolina game at this point anymore.
Come on.
I'm sorry. It's Andy fucking Dalton.
What did you? All right. Okay. Well, it's terrible. Andy Dalton, but you know what? You got any comment, like, say, on Michael Hoyt?
Yes.
Your first look at him in a Bills uniform?
I can't wait to see all the all-22 videos that you're going to post and Eric Quinn's going to post, and all you guys are going to just jerk off all over the blue-collar guy. No, he was fine. He was good. I liked how they moved him around.
Don't say fine. I was going to say, don't just say he was fine.
My God, I had a huge heart on watching him. He was great. Look, I liked how they moved him around a little bit like a Lorenzo Alexander with moving him around. Like I saw him a little bit like coming out the middle, then I saw him again on the edge. He was great, and Rousseau was good too. Hey, 7 sacks against a guy who's older than me. And actually, I think I'm older than Andy Dalton. What am I talking about? But yes, it was a good game. It was a great defensive line.
Are you really?
What? No, I am. No, Dalton's I'm very older than Dalton. Was a rookie in 2011, so he was 22 then. He's like 38 now. I want to say
he is 30. Yeah, he's actually his birthday's this week. What a shitty birthday present to get destroyed by.
Buddy. But yeah,
he's going to be 38. Yeah.
I look going into this game. I picked the Bills to not cover. I picked them to win 20-14. I thought it was going to be an ugly game. I was completely wrong. Andy Dalton was worse than I thought he was going to be. And I didn't foresee James Cook.
It sounds to me like you're just refuting. It sounds to me like you're saying, well, it's more that Andy Dalton sucks and the Bills' defensive line played well.
A little bit. It's a little bit of both. But like Andy Dalton was really. I thought in the first half the Bills, the Panthers kind of moved the ball pretty well on the Bills, and then Dalton just started throwing up on himself. And then there was like
he had a couple bad throws. He missed wide open guys, and we're going to get to a player who struggled in a minute.
Yeah, and he was throwing up on himself, but they were moving the ball at times. So, look, if 7 sacks is great, but I want to see what happens next week. And I know we're not supposed to go there yet. We can't. Well,
of course. I know, but you gotta play the opponent in front of you. And again, this wasn't the 0-8 or 0-7 New York Jets that they played against, man.
But it was against but they did not do this with Andy Dalton. They weren't 4-3 with Andy Dalton. They were 4-3 with Bryce Young. That's the difference. And look, next week, maybe Andy Dalton starts again and he lights up whoever the hell he's playing. And then I'll come back on here and be like, the defense deserves, or you'll say the defense deserves much more credit. And it's fine. Go for it, dog.
I'll say this. Greg Rizzo is he's playing well the last couple games now. I think he's found his I wish it would have, taken 4 weeks to get going, but he's going now. Ed Oliver unfortunately got hurt, but he's been great. Deion Walker had a couple more plays in this game. That's not nothing new. It's not just against Andy Dalton. Deion Walker has played exceptionally well for being a rookie. A.J. Epenesa been playing pretty decent. Bosa's had some production, so it's not like they've come out of the woodwork. To me, when I look at this game and this performance in this unit, what impressed me the most was the addition of Michael Hoyt. Because now I'm like, all right, you have Michael Hoyt in the game and you don't have Javon Sullivan and Landon Jackson. That's a big, big difference. And he's lining up inside on, for sure, passing downs. I like what they're doing with him, man. I think he's going to bring a lot to this defense. Not just this game. He did this game, but going forward as well.
They were very good. I'm just not going to have a ball washing party on my end. Okay, this is Joe from Queens Studio. We don't ball wash over here in Joe from Queens Studio here in Queens. I'll say this though real quick.
Go ahead.
If there's anything to take out of this game, and it's like long term, like in terms of worries or like, because again, I'm sorry, like I'm not. Andy Dalton was just bad. I'm sorry I keep saying that, but to me, it's Cook in the passing game. That to me is like, hey, they can either build or disintegrate. Like the passing game still looks like doo-doo to me. And we're going on like a month of it being like, eh. And then like the Cook stuff is like, look, the Panthers defense was, I think, ranked 5th in rushing defense. And they did shut out the Falcons 30-0. And the Falcons got Bijan Robinson there. So those are the two things where I'm like, I will listen to ball washing or panic a little bit there. I'm not going to be ball washing, and I know this podcast is brought to you by ball washing or Manscaped. It's brought to you by Manscaped, I guess. But
actually, this podcast is brought to you by Sunny Reds 1841 Abbott Road. But go ahead.
I like that. Good call there, buddy. But yeah, I can't just trip over and kiss the defense's ass that much. They still average. They still give up a lot of yards rushing. I really do believe that in that first half. The Panthers they were moving the ball. They just threw up on each other. And once they got behind, it was over. And like, and that's it. So I'm sorry. Like, I know you got them going to the Hall of Fame.
That's a job. But let me say this too, and how you're going to force me to go back to the offense. Would you rather have a shitty passing game and a dominating running game or vice versa? Because I will take the dominating running game 10 times out of 10.
Why would you take that? Why would you take that?
Because it's harder to stop if you're running the football. I don't give a shit if it's cold out, if it's windy out, who you're playing. If you're running the football, I don't need the passing game to be. But then you get into, well, it's Josh Allen. He's Superman. He's the MVP. I get it. I do understand. But I'm just saying, I would rather have a down. I'm happy about this performance. If you told me Josh is going to play like shit, and he did play like shit for half the game, the receivers ain't getting open, and they're going to win 40-9? Because James Cook runs for 216 yards, I will take that 40 times in a row.
I don't think you can beat the Chiefs in the playoffs if you rush for over 150 yards and Josh Allen has 150 yards passing. You're not going to do that. Go look at the box score stat from last year, and I know box score stats are evil, but go look at the playoff game. James Cook was like one of their best offensive players in that AFC Championship game, and they lost. And I think that's why I'm into more like, yeah, great. It's fine when you're going against the great Andy Dalton and poo-poo play teams, but it's when you're going against the better teams that the passing game has to be better. Sorry, that's just the rules, buddy.
Let's talk about something fun. Let's talk about something fun that I would think we both and everybody who's a Bills fan would surely agree on. How nice was it to get your first NFL taste of Max Hairston, who played 27 snaps in this game. Max Hairston looked good. I thought he looked noticeable. He had a really nice lick on Jimmy Horn Jr. In fact, he knocked him out of the game with that play. So you got your first look at Max Hairston. You also got your first look at Jordan Hancock, who played 16 snaps in this game. And I might add, saved a touchdown. Donald had broken through, and Jordan Hancock caught him from the side and tackled him. And obviously, Carolina did not score a touchdown end up on that series. So, touchdown saving tackle for him. A nice hit from Max Harrison. Neither of them did what we saw live anyway in the broadcast. Anything that stood out as bad. Athleticism, speed in that secondary. I love that shit. First thoughts. I'm sure you weren't paying too much attention to Hancock. I was. I've been waiting for this since week 1, man. Well, Max Harrison.
You've been on the Herbie Hancock bandwagon for months now.
Let me ask you this, because we haven't talked since on the show since before last week. Max Harrison being activated to me was a stunner. I thought for sure minimum 2, maybe 3 full weeks, all the way up to the end. Then they activate him. Sean McDermott, and I'm going to give Sean McDermott credit for this, man. He activates him his first week eligible. Mm-hmm. And not only does he activate him, but he plays him, rotates him a couple series. He gets 27 snaps. And now you start thinking, all right, I'm not going to start him against the Chiefs next week, but I could play him a couple series and I'm getting him more. His feet are getting wetter and wetter. It seems to me now that it's imminent before Max Harrison takes over that job, where maybe a week or so ago, I'm like, maybe at the very end of the season. So I'm going to give Sean credit for that. But anyway, your thoughts. Max plays, Jordan Hancock plays, Youth back there in the secondary. Youth was served today.
Yeah, I mean, going against the elite Andy Dalton. I'm kidding. I mean, look, Max Harrison had a couple of nice stiffs. Like, he definitely was more of a tackler than I had anticipated. In terms of it being a surprise, yeah, I mean, because look, the Bills are very good when it comes to not telling people anything, and the media really doesn't really try to dig too often. Sorry, I know you love them, but yeah, so it was a surprise that he got activated, and it was a surprise that, he did play more. But what do you expect? The secondary's banged up. They've been dying with Trey White back there, and I'm glad he played, and he looked good. And that's all I have to say about that, as Forrest Gump would say.
It excites me because, look, maybe not next week, but they're gonna get a taste of the Chiefs. These rookies I'm talking about. There's going to come a point, whether it's Xavier Worthy, whether it's, maybe Jamar Chase late in the season. I don't know. But these speed receivers, these running backs who can fly like the wind, you got to have speed in the secondary. Taylor Rapp and Trey White, slow asses. Me and you might be faster than them at this point of their careers. And by the way, Jordan Poyer started. He played 45 snaps. I like to use your term the way you say it. He was fine. That's how I feel about this game. He was fine. Jordan Poyer was fine. He's got a role for this team for now. Maybe he's kind of safekeeping the safety spot eventually for Hancock. I'm glad Jordan Poyer's on this football team now. I'll say that much. I'm not disrespecting Jordan whatsoever. I do think he's an upgrade over Taylor Rapp as well. I'd like to see Taylor Rapp be done for the season. Let's just put that out there too. They put him on IR. Is that a little? So he's never on the injury report or anything. And then they're on a bye. And it said the big conversation all bye week was, do they have the balls to bench Taylor Rapp? And then Wednesday, he doesn't practice. Thursday, he doesn't practice with the knee that he hurt at training camp, which he did hurt at training camp. I was there at that practice. I remember it. But anyway, then he's on IR. Like, really?
I mean, maybe he was... Look, it is night and day with how Rapp played last year.
Feels suspicious. Yes, it is.
I'm saying that maybe he nursed it and he didn't tell them. I don't know. I mean, obviously, we'll never know because we'd never get any sort of inside...
No
information.
Ball washing zone.
Yeah, no ball washing. This is ball washing brought to you by No Ball Washing. But yeah, it was interesting how that kind of happened. But we'll see. Look, the Bills are 5-2, and I think if you were to say that before the season started, that you might take that. As in
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, relax, tough guy. Okay, yeah, 5-2, but how they got here has definitely not been how I would have probably wanted it to be, in terms of it being some hiccups here and there, and Josh not looking stellar. But, James Cook has been the surprise to me. Like, he has been the guy on totality.
Why are you deciding? This is like end of the podcast stuff. You're just deciding to go to go into
Home.
business for yourself right now? Yeah, you're trying to. If this was wrestling, this was a match, or just decided you're going home right now.
Bro,
You're
I
going,
lost.
I wasn't done talking about a couple things that
Okay,
were
well, I'm
like
just
that
saying
I
in
like from this
general.
game.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead,
It's like
dog.
you just decided we're going
Because
home,
this game
man.
is stupid.
You're in
Like, no
gorilla
one cares
position
about-
over there, saying that's it for this
I'm
show.
sorry.
The
Well, you know
Bills are
what?
5-2, but they haven't looked great doing it.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'm looking more into the future. I'm sorry you want to still jerk off this epic Carolina game. Go for it, buddy.
Well, no, there were a couple other things I wanted to bring up real quick. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but I liked them. I liked the tush push is finally back. They scored a touchdown on that twice.
Mm-hmm.
They also had a third down conversion on it. It didn't end up counting because the Bills don't know how to line up a receiver on the line of scrimmage. I think it was Curtis Samuel on that, but I just want to throw it out there. I do like that the tush push is back. Maybe in retrospect, Sean said, you know what? I don't want to get the quarterback hit before the bye. Maybe we won't run this play at all. And now that the bye's over, we'll start going to that. It's funny, though, no end arounds in this football game, but there were 3 tush pushes and no ends around. Back to the defense. Shaq Thompson, I thought he played another good game. I gave a comparison on Matt Milano at this point. Let me know if you agree with this. Maybe it's corny. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what
you are a cornball.
We'll see what the audience thinks. But I have said this for the last couple of weeks now. I am impressed enough with Shaq Thompson that whether it's Bernard, who was an emergency, like he was active but only would play if someone got hurt if it was an emergency, or Matt Milano, Shaq Thompson has played well enough that I don't care if one of those guys don't get back. Okay, if Shaq Thompson's going to be out there, I'm good. I think Shaq Thompson has played as well as either of those guys, if not better, this season. My Matt Milano take was this. I said Matt Milano to me is like an aging cell phone. Like, it still works reasonably well. Like, you got a phone, it's kind of, you want to trade it in, but it still works reasonably well, right? But the battery just drains so fucking quick when you get a phone and it starts to get old. Like, it works. You can go on Twitter and you can go on your Blue Sky and all that shit and tweet out all your fun stuff, but the battery dies like too quick. That's Matt Milano and his pec and all the other injuries. It's like, yeah, it's good. He's fine. He's out there, but the battery dies and then he's hurt again. It's just, I'm good with Shaq Thompson being out there for the rest of the season, to be honest with you at this point. I didn't think I would say that before the year, but that's where I'm at right now.
I agree with Shaq Thompson being out there. I don't necessarily agree with Matt Milano's battery runs out too fast. I don't think Matt Milano has been good since he got hurt against the Jags 2 years ago. Even when he came, it's because he can't stay on the field. But even when he was on the field last year, when he came back, he didn't really do all that much. It was just kind of like, okay, he's there, and we're like praying he's okay, and like he doesn't fall to pieces, and he didn't. But then there weren't that many plays he made last year, like when he came back in December. And then this year, he was terrible in that first game against the Baltimore. And then he kept getting hurt. Like I don't think that cell phone works at all, and I think it just breaks pretty quickly. So, but yes, I'm down with that.
Let me
yeah, what you laughing? Always laughing at the comments. You're like, you're like
no, I'm laughing at you. I think you're being witful.
Not.
You're being very witful and funny. A couple other quick hits too, by the way, from this game, because this is a live reaction show from the game.
More games.
Bills went 7 of 12 on third downs, 410 total yards, no turnovers. So again, I always arrive at, boy, we are sure being critical of Josh Allen in an offense that had 410 total yards, no turnovers, and won a game 40-9, man. Come on, what are we doing here? Are we setting the bar for the Buffalo Bills just too enormously high right now?
No, because you watch the game and you see that the passing game, which last I checked, passing does matter in this league, wasn't very well. Didn't do very well. And
it would matter if they needed it. That's where I would. Let's meet in the middle. If they were stymieing James Cook and they had to throw the ball, then it would matter.
Look, there's all this. I already saw tweets from content bros talking about like if you're negative about this game, then why watch football? And it's like, look, I'm negative and positive about it. Okay, like James Cook looked good, and and then the defense looked good against a shitty quarterback, and then. What? I can't do that? I'm not allowed to? That makes me negative.
No, you are. I agree, and I agree with you, too. It's bullshit to say because the Bills won. They won by 5, 10, or 30 that you can't be critical of anything. You absolutely can, and it's bullshit to suggest otherwise.
Yeah, we're talking about, what are they going to look like against the Chiefs? What are they going to look like against the juggernaut Colts all of a sudden? And that's what it matters the most. But look, I don't think us being negative is bad. Like we ball washed them and then we kicked them in the balls
Well,
during this podcast. It's good.
I do have one thing that I do want to get to that we have not even discussed yet. By the way, Cryonic17 in the chat said, did y'all talk about Sean calling the defense instead of Bobby? Yes, we did. So if you get a chance, go back, buddy, and listen to it. Let me say this too. This entire podcast. Now, Josh Allen played bad in the first half, but he had some redemption. Again, 6 for 6 for 97 yards, and 2 touchdowns if you count the run in the second half. That's some redemption. To me, and this scares me for this game. It didn't hurt him this game, but concern going forward. If we said there's 2 things about this game that concern me going forward against the Chiefs and thereafter. One is the Ed Oliver injury. That's for sure. Some people would argue the Bills' passing offense. Everything you say I agree with, but I still think it'll get fixed. But let's leave that there. Here's the other thing that concerns me. Teron Johnson stunk in this game, okay? And this is kind of becoming a trend. I said this sarcastically during the game. The Teron Johnson regression needs to be studied right now. This dude was getting picked on out there. He was getting beat in pass plays. There were 1 or 2 plays that he got beat on, but fortunately it was a bad and dandy Andy throw, and they weren't completed. But that was because of the quarterback, not because of good coverage. He's not tackling that well either. I mean, he has tackled awful this season. I've gotten to the point where Teron Johnson feels benchable to me. Now, the problem is it's not going to happen. It won't, because unlike Trey White, where you got Max Harrison, or unlike Rappaport, where you got Jordan Hancock, there's no upgrade on the Bills. Cam Lewis, as bad as Teron Johnson is, he's still better than Cam Lewis if you're going to start Cam Lewis. But this is something they're going to have to live with and figure out. But, dude, man, Teron Johnson has been really, really, really bad. This guy was an All-Pro 2 years ago. He looks like a shell of himself right now.
When was Johnson drafted? He was
2018.
I'm just going to say this. He's played a lot of snaps. He's inside, which means he's a run stuffer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he supports the run. Maybe he's breaking down a little bit. I mean, he's a 30. He's 30 now, and he plays like the Bills after Lorenzo Alexander retired decided, hey, we're not going to play 3 linebackers anymore. We're going to play 2, and Johnson's going to be like on the field, with Poyer being kind of like the linebacker, whatever the fuck they do with their defense. But Johnson's played a lot of snaps. He's a smaller dude. He's played inside, like I said. I think the physicality could be catching up to him, and that's where we're at right now. And he might. I know I'm going to steal his take. Mafia Matt mentioned on your podcast a couple weeks ago, like Johnson could be one of those guys that they put in at safety, maybe like after this season. And I could see that, like, he might be better at safety, like a free safety back there where he's just a center fielder instead of like being up there and getting beat. So
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
But for the rest of this season, he's got to figure out. They got to figure out something. They got to figure out a way. Do they play more 4-3? Where he's not on the field. But there's going to be passing downs. And as much as we have beaten up Trey White this season, and he's the low hanging fruit, I feel like, I would argue that there's been stretches of many games where Trey White has been fine, not because he's making great plays. They're just, for whatever reason, not thrown at him. But Teron Johnson, and as of this recording, I was hoping to be able to get the stats, the advanced stats from this game on him. But it felt like to me the only success this entire game Carolina had in the passing game was when they were going at Teron Johnson. So that wasn't good. Couple quick nitpicks and with the bad column too. 7 penalties for 60 yards. I really thought coming off the bye that was going to be something they cleaned up, but that's not good. 7 penalties is not good. I thought Christian Benford and Trey White were just okay. Again, little nitpicks. They weren't bad. Benford's not Superman like it was last year, so I think a lot of people are getting panicked. I still think Christian Benford is fine, and he'll play fine when he needs to, but they were okay. Prater missed an extra point. As soon as he kicked that and missed, I'm like, I wonder how Tyler Bass's pelvic soreness
is. How is he? Have we found? I mean, not been on Bill's X. Do we have any? Has anyone asked McDermott about?
Well, they haven't opened up his practice window yet, so that's not.
Okay. Well, yeah,
that's not promising. And then I only had one thing written down in the ugly, and we've talked about him enough that we really don't need to. But Andy Dalton, dude, he just sucked. Holy shit, was he bad? He had an interception. He was sacked 7 times. He lost a fumble. He threw a couple terrible throws, even when he wasn't under extreme pressure. It was almost like he was waiting to get sacked. Kind of felt like Carson Wentz-ish to me, how he's played with Minnesota. I think the Bills defense deserves a lot of credit, but I would also say that Andy Dalton made it easier for them. Like, this was a good get-right game coming off the bye to play this team, a 4-3 team that won 3 in a row, and they're at home, even though there was a lot of Bills fans in that stadium. But he was just fucking brutal, man.
Yeah, he was brutal. I'll say one thing too, just about the defense in totality. Like, aside from that, right now when you just look at points, the defense has allowed 30, I think, once, and that was against Baltimore. Like, they allowed 9 points today. Last week was 24 against the Falcons before the bye. Sorry.
Yeah.
23 against New England. 20. Like, it's been all these low numbers, and it's kind of like, even though, like, I could sit here and pick on the defense in terms of you got Trey White and Tyler Rapp on your I'm going to kick you in the nuts Hall of Fame over here for the season for the most part, and probably a couple other guys, and I do as well. They're kind of doing their job.
They've only allowed more than 24 points once this year, and that was week 1 against Baltimore, which you can't really blame a defense for allowing more than 24.
There's part of me, and you know who was missing in 3 of those games? Ed Oliver. And that's where, I'm going back and forth with the Ed Oliver, like, oh man, they got to get a defensive tackle. But it's like, shit, like, they're still doing their job, getting that 20 to 25 sweet spot. The problem has been, in my opinion, at times has been the offense. And yeah, they scored 40 to get us 40 again. But it feels like they're doing their bend but don't break kind of thing with the defense. Look at you laughing at
what the hell does that even? I'm looking at the live chat, and I apologize to people who listen to this show and they don't watch the YouTube. They're like, "What the hell is this idiot laughing at while Joe's talking?"
Yeah.
Mike Arlizel said Bass is the male version of a cat lady. I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to mean, Mike. What the hell? What are we doing here?
All I'm saying is I had a great point, and you laughed at the cat.
I couldn't help it. To your point, the Bills' defense this year. So in terms of points that the opponent has scored, all right, Baltimore again dropped 40 on them. Tough game. What are you going to do? It's the Ravens week 1. But after that, the Bills defense has allowed 10, 21, 19, 23, 24, and 9. That is like production.
You take that,
man.
You take that. And look, I'll say this. They do give up a lot of yards. The rushing defense is terrible. And in fairness, if you just look at the score, like the points, that's one thing. But if you're if a team is controlling the ball against you, that means you can't get Josh Allen on the field. So, yes, you're giving up a field goal, but you had the ball for like 7 minutes. That's not good, because obviously then you're taking Josh Allen, off the field. So, like, it could be a little misleading with the points a little bit if it's like that sort of thing where you have long drives. But yeah, if you just look at the scoring, it's like, shit, you take that. And that's why, I go back and forth, I get what you're saying about the Ed Oliver thing, because he is their, he's their 3rd best player probably on the team. It's maybe more. Throw in an offensive lineman if you want, but like,
no, I agree. I think he's their 3rd best player right now.
Yeah, Cook is the 2nd, Josh is 1st, Cook 2nd, probably Ed Oliver 3rd.
Yeah,
but like, I get that.
Yeah,
if that's the case.
That Atlanta loss is the one that bothers me. I mean, you don't want to lose to New England, but New England's a good team. I'll tell you what, though. They're playing all these shitty teams, and the final score on Sunday ended up being kind of one-sided, but they were in a fight with Cleveland for a while. They're going to be that team that plays shit teams and unimpressive wins, but then you're going to look up and you're going to be like, holy shit, man, this team is 11-3. That's kind of what they're headed towards. But anyway, all right, so the Bills win. Impressive. It was impressive. It was impressive any way you look at it, except for the first half offense in terms of throwing the football. That was a lot of work to do there. But people are going to listen to this on Monday. It's already time to turn this page. You got the Chiefs game, and this game means so much. It really does. It means so much in terms of the potential number 1 seed. It means so much in terms of the AFC East because of all these easy games that New England has, and this is a tough game, obviously, for the Bills. So the conference, the division, but to me, Joe, maybe as much as anything, This game on Sunday, so, all right, they played good, but they played Andy Dalton. You know, they had a bad game against Atlanta. They beat the Jazz. Yada, yada, yada. As much as anything, this game on next Sunday is going to be a true blue test to see where the Buffalo Bills are at. If you think this defense is for real, you're going to find out on Sunday. If you think this passing game is in shambles, we'll see after Sunday. If they can't throw the ball on Sunday, because you got to assume that Kansas City is going to do what they can to, limit James Cook running the football. If they're still struggling like that, then the Bills, I think, have a legit problem. To me, this Bills game against Kansas City on Sunday already is shaping up as like the measuring stick game for the Buffalo Bills. You with that? You agree with that? This game is really, really big beyond just a regular season. Like in terms of the Super Bowl, yeah, the Bills have beat the Chiefs 4 straight years and they lose in the playoffs. I don't give a shit about that. I want to know right now, this year, this team, I think you're going to learn a lot about the Bills this Sunday. I lost you. You're muted.
I'm a dipshit. My apologies. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a huge game. And we always know Bills Chiefs is always a big game. And I've tried to think back to the last 4 regular season games.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe 2023 when they were 6-6 and then they won. I think they won week 13 or 14 when they had to run the table to win the playoff, to get in the playoffs, and they beat them. That was a big game. Maybe bigger than this because they were going for their lives. But yeah, you play well against them. It's a vibe check is the vibes are up. If you get obliterated and their speed destroys your defense, then we're it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
This is not just another game. This is not just another
never
game.
Another game. Look, it's never. And now we're going to be into this mind game thing where, when you lose to the Chiefs so many times in the playoffs, it's it's because the Chiefs aren't throwing the kitchen sink at the Bills in the regular season, but the Bills are. So now we're going to get into that where you kind of feel like you have to kind of throw the kitchen sink. And maybe the Chiefs do as well. Because look, the Chiefs they're behind the Bills right now in the standings as we tape this.
Yeah.
So I don't think they could just sit there and go hey, we're going to bring out our B-list plays. You probably want to win this game. So but you're right, man. It is huge. And I do not like this matchup. I liked it in the beginning of the season. A month ago, I liked it. I don't like it now because the Chiefs seem like they have. I don't know what the Monday night score is right now. I haven't looked on my phone to see it. But
they don't play till Monday night.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry, man. I got confused. My bad. But yeah, as of right now, they got a lot of speed, and the Bills, I feel, are very, very slow in the back end of this defense. They haven't played a speedster. I feel like they haven't played speedsters like the Chiefs. So we'll see what happens.
Like I said, this is going to be, and again, measuring stick. Do the Bills need to go to Harrison and Hancock after this game because they just can't keep up? Can the Bills run on the Chiefs? Can the Bills throw on the Chiefs? What are they going to do if they take away the running game and they force Josh Allen to be, the receivers to be a bigger factor in the passing game? Do the Bills trade for a receiver this week before the game? I think there's a lot you're going to learn. And I'll tell you, forget about the Chiefs, forget about the conference. This game is also big because the Patriots right now are a half game up on the Bills, and they've beaten the Bills. But they also, you look at their next 5 games right now. So before the Bills and the Patriots meet again in the rematch, the Patriots' next 5 games, they're at home against Atlanta, and I think Atlanta's fraudulent. The Bills couldn't stop 2 guys. Atlanta did everything they could to give the Bills day. That's why I said I'm still pissed off about this game a few weeks later. Anyway, we don't need to get into that. We know what happened. But they play Atlanta at home. Then they play Tampa on the road, which is by far their toughest game in their next 5. They're at Tampa. They're at home against the Jets. They're at Cincinnati. And they're at home against the New York Giants.
They're actually, sorry to interrupt, they're at home against Tampa. They're not in Tampa.
No, they're at Tampa.
You sure about that?
I'm positive.
Okay, well, my apologies.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
New England is at Tampa. So it's Atlanta at home, at Tampa, the New York Jets at home, at Cincy, and the New York Giants. And then they got a bye, and then they play the Bills after the New England gets their bye in the rematch in week 15. Point being, these are big games for the Bills. You can count on New England maybe going 4-1, 3-2 at worst over the next 5. So this is a big game for the standings, not just for the conference, but for the division. Yeah. So there's a lot at stake in this game. There's a lot at stake in the standings, and there's a lot at stake of figuring out what you are right now as a football team, I feel like.
My worry in this game is, are we going to get sugar high Josh? Because he is always cool hand Luke with the press.
Yeah, we play
He's
so good
boring.
against them, though. He plays so
I
good
know.
against the Chiefs.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's played solid. I mean, he hasn't had those 300-yard moments anymore, but like, yes,
He won Player of the Week last year when they beat the Chiefs. I remember that.
Did he win that? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Well, he had that, but my point is like we've been seeing him pressing, and this offense, the wide receivers and the passing game has been off a little bit. Like, what are we? How is he going to handle it next week? So it's like, what are we going to see?
So we got this is the last full week before they play the Chiefs, and then there's Tuesday 4 p.m. after that. Do you think the Bills make a trade when we're recapping the Bills Chiefs next week, which will be on live at 9:00 next Sunday? By the way, everybody. Do you think the Bills will have made a trade, whether it's for a receiver or whether it's for a defensive tackle or both? Do you think the Bills make a move this week?
I think the Bills make a move. I have no clue for what. I don't know if it will be this week, but maybe because like they haven't. I don't think they've done. I don't remember when the Douglas deal was. Was it on the deadline day? I feel like they've brought guys in a week in advance.
It was before the deadline, I believe.
I don't think it was a day off.
Cooper was well before.
Yeah, Cooper was well before. I definitely can see that happening. I would say like the biggest question I have is who on the Bills roster is tradable. Like I know everyone and their mother always says Curtis Samuel. No one wants Curtis Samuel.
Player-wise, I got two.
Oh, you've been thinking about this. Then go for it, buddy.
I think there's two players. Well, you got to look. Who do you want? Would you like the Bills to be able to get rid of guys? There's 15 of them, of course.
Yeah, sure.
But are there two guys that you honestly, if you're being objective with yourself, that you think other teams would have an interest in because they could have a role, contract-wise, role-wise? I think there's two. They're not starters, and they're both on the offensive line. I think there's teams out there that will like Ryan Vandermark, and I think there's teams out there that will like Alec Anderson. Both of those guys, I think, are potential tradable guys. Maybe a Ray Davis, but I think Ray Davis will go be a 2 or 3 on any team. You know what I mean? He's not going to be a 1 on any team. Ryan Vandermark or Alec Anderson could start on the offensive line for plenty of teams around the league. I don't think the Bills want to trade Alec Anderson because I think they might lose McGovern and or David Edwards after the season. And Alec Anderson will probably be their planned starter for next year. But those are guys. Michael Partham, really late, or actually he was here earlier too. I saw him. He says, I think Keon is tradable. I don't think he's tradable now. I think he's tradable in the offseason, but that's another conversation.
He's tradable if you find like an underachieving second round wide receiver from like last year's draft. And maybe there's some guy there we haven't looked up.
I don't think they trade him this year. I think they could trade him as early as this offseason.
Didn't Vandermark, he was terrible in the one game.
He wasn't terrible.
There was a game recently that he was terrible.
He wasn't as terrible as it seemed. There was a lot of film, and he was.
Oh, the film. Yeah, go ahead. The film.
Anyway, you asked me a question, and that's my answer. I think the two tradable guys on this football team that they could get rid of and still have enough depth and get maybe something for them as part of a package. Ryan Vandermark and Alec Anderson. Before I get to,
I would trade Terrell Bernard.
What?
Hot take. Yes, you know what? He's injury prone. He's undersized. Trade him. What do you say to that?
Okay, and you just think another team's going to want that contract?
Yes,
I mean, that matters, right?
No, yeah, I mean, I'm saying if they can make it.
They're not trading their fucking captain. He's their captain.
Who gives a shit, the captains? Pat LaFontaine got traded, and he was a fucking captain. So did Danny Briere. He got let go. Okay, give me this crap about the captaincy. What are you, fucking... Like the Titanic, the captain of the Titanic died too. So I don't want
Josh Palmer is the end to all the Bills' woes. He's just got to be healthy, buddy.
Joey Bosa, trade him. Trade that idiot.
Let me before I get to a handful of comments from people who've been commenting throughout the show that I bookmarked to answer. Did you do a Flushmore this week or not?
Yeah, I told you my Flushmore is how annoying you are. That's
for newbies, because there's always a couple newbies here. And we do most people do a Mount Rushmore every week. Joe likes to do a Mount Flushmore, which is the worst of everything. What do you got? These are the most annoying things about me.
Yes, you don't act so surprised.
We'll get to this, and then, like I said, we got some Bills comments from fans, and we'll wrap up right after this. All right, go ahead. I don't know what you're going to say. So, what's the most annoying things about me?
Okay, first off, you do know what I'm going to say. I told you, but I'm switching it up. I'm switching it up.
On my kids, I didn't pay any attention to what you said about.
You hate your kids. Okay, so number one, number one. Oh, the pandering. I mean, pandering Pat. It's just. You got a ball. You are the king of ball washing. Since we're over.
This is the ball washing episode.
At least ball washing isn't a swear word, so I don't have to get the yelling at you after. But you pander to everyone, and like every show you come on, you're like, I'm here with
my guy,
my guy,
my guy, Matt Marino, my guy,
Marcel Louis Jacques. He's the greatest media person of all time. I love you, and you know, I'll give credit to Mafia Matt. He sees the bullshit, and like you pander to everyone. If Hitler came on the podcast and he could talk sports, you'd be pandering to him. Like,
yeah, you've kind of like that name's been established now.
That's been established.
There's others who say that. All right, so pandering. So my pandering is up there. Okay.
Yeah, that's up there. You never listen to me. That's number 2. I did not want to do this, to be honest. I wanted to do a couple other flush modes. You're like, meh. Pat originally wanted me to do a Mount Flushmore for serious injuries because of the Ed Oliver injury. I'm like, dude, I have talked about Sam Coward's injury on all my Flushmores. It feels like 3 or 4 times because we were doing the stadium stuff. Like, you never listen to me. I always ask questions. I'm like, why don't we do this? No. What if we do this? The only way I got to talk to Podfather. If I talk to Podfather and go, Podfather, can you do this on your show? That way I can tell Pat, hey, can we do this too now since Podfather did it? You'd be like, oh my God, it's a great idea because Podfather did it. And that's kind of how you don't.
You have some stupid ideas, though. To be fair to me,
what stupid?
Like you wanted to do airplane things today for Mount Flushmore. I'm like,
last week we did the bar thing, and I thought that was fun.
Well, that was a good topic. I thought the airplane one was dumb.
Why?
I don't listen.
Okay, you don't listen. Number 3, I'm so sick and tired of your chicken wing takes. I just can't anymore. I know we have sponsors, so I know it's part of the game of chicken wings, but like, my God, dude, everyone eats chicken wings. We don't need a review. You're not Chef Boyardee or the guy from I don't know. Give me a wing connoisseur or a food.
Isn't that Drew guy? Isn't there a wing king here in Buffalo? I forgot his name or whatever.
I don't know.
You're not a big wing. I'm not saying you don't like wings. I just think you're kind of Sal Capacio's the same way. You guys think that wings are basically the same everywhere you go. Like they can be good anywhere you go. That's what you think. I think that's a stupid take, but you know, to each their own.
Whatever. I'm just sick. I'm just not into these reviews. Like and then you hype it up like you're like Homer Simpson trying the chili in that one episode of The Simpsons, which I'm sure you never watched. I'm just enough, dude. Oh my God. Then 4th, and I'm so sick and tired of you trashing Blue Sky and like because you just hate it and you love Twitter X for whatever reason. You're a dork. People are on Blue Sky. I'm sorry that the content bros aren't on Blue Sky as much as they are on the X, but the real people, the niceness, the vibes, not supporting an asshole like Elon Musk, like we're on Twitter. That's what we're on Blue Sky. And every day I gotta hear Blue Sky sucks because I can't tweet out a 5-minute video of my tea.
You can't. You can't tweet videos. You can't schedule a tweet. Like if I wanted to say, before I go to bed tonight and I want to have a 6:30 a.m., hey, Pat and Joe did a live show last night. Here's the link. I got to fucking get up in the morning and do it because I can't schedule it the night before because after 2-3 years or whatever it is with Blue Sky, you can't even schedule a tweet, let alone put up a video, a clip or anything. I get the video thing. You want to keep all, the propaganda out of there. You can't schedule a tweet ahead of time. Come on.
Yeah, whatever. You know what? That's more of a problem. You just don't like it because like you're just like you hate it because Tone Pucks would be on there if you still talk to him, and you think it's an echo chamber and it's not. It's just like everyone. It's just a very bad impression. I'm sick of you bashing it. And then number 5, and yeah, I'm not done.
What, 5? There's only supposed to be 4.
I don't give a shit. We're doing number 5. You have too many podcasts, like 5 a week. It's too many. And you never listen to my topics. I give you suggestions. I gotta think. There's probably like 6 or 7 more. You're not good with engaging the comments like when you should be, and
that's fair. That part is fair.
Look, next week you could definitely bust my balls, and you can do. I'll let you do the Mount Rushmore of
next week will be a Flushmore, and we'll get to flip this script.
Look at
Steven. Says Patrick is the most likable and logical Bills podcaster. No bullshit. There you go, buddy.
No, he
Thank you,
bullshits,
Steve.
but he bullshits. But
Is he
like
pandering now? Is Steve in the
no,
live chat a
no,
panderer?
it's fine. I mean, he's kind of a, oh, I'll always remember. I had the backstory for the pandering. I'll always remember this because this is when I knew Pat was a panderer. This is before he had a podcast when he had that Buffalo Sports Daily, had like 5 views a day, and you like ball washed Brian Galliford in like 2013 when Buddy Nix left, and you were like, and I remember this because Galliford wrote an article that I completely disagreed with, where he was like, Buddy Nix was a great GM because he left us all with this talent. And I'm like, dude, they're like 13. They won 6 games every year during the Buddy Nix regime, basically. They were terrible. And you were like, this was the most brilliant piece I've ever read. You said the word's brilliant. And I was like, brilliant? What is this? So anyway, that was you pandering because you loved, and for people who don't know, Galliford is like Matt Rich Warren the third's mentor or whatever.
The third, I thought it was Matt Rich Warren the 7th. That's what you usually say.
Third, yeah.
Anyway. The only thing I would push back on a little bit is what you consider in pandering. Sometimes I just consider being nice.
No,
being nice to somebody. Like, hey, Joe, hey, Ryan Talbot, that's a good outfit, man. You look pretty sharp. If I say that, you're looking good, buddy. To you, that's pandering, Pat.
But you only pander to media people. If you pandered to other people, like people who don't have a content or
I pander to OnlyFans chicks now a lot on Twitter too, though.
Of course you do. I mean, you want them on your podcast. You want them all. You want, yeah. So that's all. But you pander to the media people. And like, look, you're the most likable guy because you bring people onto this podcast and the Bills bro beat, and you give them wings, and that's all you got to do. Harrington will do a podcast in a dungeon if you give him bread and water.
I'm actually, speaking of, working on getting a live show for tomorrow night at Imperial Pizza over some wings with a guest. So we got to see how that works out before we get out of here. All right.
Do we know yet? You don't know yet?
No, I don't know yet. Now that we're done roasting me, let's get to a couple of these comments that have been scattered throughout that I wanted to hit before we bounce out of here. Alex Barber says, if Milano was always getting flack for not being available, shouldn't Oliver? At this point in their careers, Oliver is a lot better. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you kind of addressed that earlier. And Oliver gets hurt too much.
He's gotten banged up a few different times. And, he's not a young dude anymore. Like, he's out, he drafted in 2019. He's up there a little bit. I mean, he's getting not like bad, but like, no, it's something to watch,
I agree. Someone else said, and I don't have this to pull up, but I did see someone in the chat say Oliver's been garbage in the playoffs. That's not true. Ed Oliver was great last year in Kansas City.
He was great in that Chiefs
previous
game,
to that elimination games. I've been on him for a couple of years. He's been brutal, but I think he exercised those demons last year at Arrowhead. I thought he was actually great in that game. Let's see what else we got here. CTP T22 says the Bills are drafting a left tackle by the 3rd round next year. That's sensible. Deion's getting old. And you know what? He's still very good, but he's kind of mistake prone. He had a false start in this game. He had a misassignment that led to Josh got sacked twice today. One of them was very clearly on Deion Dawkins. It was only on a 3-man rush, too, as well. Miscommunication. He took the outside guy, Greg Olsen, which, by the way, we didn't say this on the broadcast. Greg Olsen's awesome.
He's really
good. I wish every Bills game could be on Fox and that Greg Olsen was calling.
He got boned by
really
Brady, sadly, with Brady coming in. And
100%. He's way better than Tom Brady, but I can see that. Left tackle's a premium position.
I can't see that because I think I could see them going guard or center with Connor McGovern, possibly leaving. He's a free agent this year, and I can see that. I could see them being like, let's get someone in here, and I can see that more so since Spencer Brown and Deion are locked in.
Yep. Let's see here. Jared Barlow 6240 says need to get Shaheed from New Orleans and Campbell from Arizona. I tell you what, that would be a dream scenario for the Bills. Shaheed is a burner at wide receiver, significantly better in terms of speed and getting down the field than anyone the Bills have. And Calais Campbell's 10,000 years old with Arizona, but boy, oh boy, man, he would be a good rest of the season interior.
I thought about this.
He's better than Daquan Jones still right now to this day. He'd be an upgrade.
It's funny with Campbell. Like I think he won a Super Bowl with Baltimore, didn't he? A few years ago, like was he there in like a long time ago? The Joe Flacco days, because he's old.
I can't remember.
I can't remember, but like, I've always thought about like sometimes I wonder like, do the Bills need someone with like Super Bowl experience? Like Von Miller was kind of supposed to be that guy because he won 2 Super Bowls and it didn't work out because of injuries and et cetera. Like sometimes I wonder if like they need that, like a guy who's been there and won Super Bowls, but still plays at a high level. I don't know.
He'd be a great addition. I'm not gonna do it now because we're almost at the end of the show. I got to look up his contract, but he would be a great addition. Let's get a couple in here.
What about Thomas in Jacksonville? You have any like because there's been rumblings about him. I mean, he was great last year.
Sure. He hit fucking 10 touchdowns and 1,300 yards as a rookie last year.
Would you give up a first rounder and Keon Coleman for him?
Yes.
Okay.
But I'll say this: the Jaguars aren't sellers. The Jaguars are 4-3 right now. Why would you, if Jacksonville was going to trade, if they were going to trade him, doesn't that tell you there's a major red flag that a guy who had 1,300 yards and 10 touchdowns as a rookie, you're trading him in week 8 the next season under a rookie contract where you got him for 3.5 more years? If they were to trade him, that tells me something's really fucked up about Brian Thomas Jr.
I will counter that and say they fired the GM and the head coach who picked him, and they have a new GM, a new head coach. Maybe look, it was shocking when the Bills traded Sammy Watkins when Brandon Beane came here because he wasn't his guy. I'm just saying, like, you have a different guys. They may want capital or whatever.
I don't know anything about him. I don't pretend to know a lot about the Jags, but I will say this though: what little I've read, I've read, it kind of the book on him, like in terms of negative shit, is that he kind of shies away from going over the middle, shies away from contact and things like that. Like is not 100% every play, but dude's a fucking play. They're not trading him. All right. They're just not going to trade him. That would be idiot. They're not trading him unless it's for a monster trade. They're not trading him to the Buffalo Bills for Curtis Samuel in a second. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen.
You got to go first, easily. No. Yeah.
Let's. I got a couple from Paul Walker here. He says Dawkins made some more mental mistakes, Dawkins making more mental mistakes is becoming a trend. We kind of addressed that. He's still playing at a very high level. He's not perfect, but sure, yeah, he has been making.
What
some
about
mental
George
mistakes.
Pickens? How about him? Dallas is kind of shitty. I don't know. I feel like it could be a rental. He's a rental player right now. Maybe they're not going to
trade him.
I mean, Dallas he's a rental. They're terrible. They're 3-4 and whatever.
They're in the mix. Well, let's go. Yeah, Paul Walker also said, "What's the timeline on Josh Palmer?" I'll say this: if you were looking for good news, he didn't go on IR. They put Taylor Rapp on IR, so that tells you that the Bills think that he will be back sometime in the next 3 weeks, but. He also didn't practice, not even on a limited basis this week. And that was coming off a bye. So you're about 2 weeks in. High ankle sprain, 4 to 5, 6 weeks. So I'd say probably you're a couple of weeks away at least from having him in. And this was the comment, by the way. I'm going to call Mike Carlisto out. Oliver's never come through in the playoffs. Disagree.
Why you got to call him out like that? Carlisto's
wrong. Mike Carlisto, my guy.
Him out already. No, you're
Hmm?
not pandering. Yeah, you're choppy. You just whatever. You want to keep talking about Josh Allen and his stupid marriage shit. That it's the lowest hanging fruit thing of all time.
Marino's legacy says Elway wasn't that good in the 97 playoffs. It was the running game and defense getting turnovers. I'm not quite sure what part of the show that was that we were talking about, but it's a fair point. Look, teams that won Super Bowls without having Superman at quarterback, playing defense and running the football.
That's 30 years ago. That's like 30 years ago. Why don't you just bring up Trent Dilfer fucking 30 years ago? My God. Look, last year the Eagles won the Super Bowl and they had A.J. Brown, Barkley, and Devontae Smith. They scored 40 fucking points. That gets forgotten because people who want to ball wash Bean and be like, "You're right, buddy. We need a defensive doom." Yeah, because the Eagles attacked Mahomes, they forget about the 40 points, but sure. Anyway,
all right, let's. I went through the comments. There's a
lot
more.
Oh, Alex Barber says Deion Dawkins got into a fight after the game.
Yeah, I saw it.
I saw it. Cool.
Kimberly Martin posted a video. She worked for the Buffalo News for a while. I think she's with ESPN now.
ESPN now. She's big.
Yeah, they showed it. It got pretty heated. Nothing crazy, but yeah, he got into it. I don't know all the details, but anyway. All right, do you got anything before we get out of here? Otherwise, this is a wrap. Is there anything you want to say?
I tried to go home, but you're like the DDP of podcasting. You have your script. Only Parthon will get this joke. You're like the DDP of a podcast, and you have your script. You can only do these moves. And if I go off page, you're like, we're gonna talk about that later. I forgot that was the other thing I wanted to bitch at you about. You always are like, if I bring something up, because I'm a feel guy.
You're going back to the Flushmore?
Yes, go back to the Flushmore. Number 7. I have like the feel guy where I go off of impulses and I'm like, oh, let's talk about this. You're like, no. I have to
Fee
go
from the
this
crowd.
way. Yeah, I feel the crowd. I feel whatever pops in my head. We call it in the ring, and you're like, no. We got to rate by 75 moves. You're like,
I want to be
Man.
Ricky. I want to be Ricky Steamboat and Randy Savage from WrestleMania 3, where Randy Savage wanted every little single part of that match written ahead of time.
Yeah, that's what you want. Exactly. And I just sit there and go, yes, I'll reiterate what you said. You're magical Podfather. Or not Podfather, Pandering Pat.
Let me pull up. Well, I do want to pull up one more comment. Mesvids, and I disagree with him. He says if they give up another third rounder for a 1-year rental, that's negligence, and I'll start considering the being criticism more seriously. Respectfully, Maz, you know I love his takes. He comments all the time on the videos.
You got to pander. You're pandering.
I'm showing respect to the people who put time aside during their day to listen to us sound like idiots. I don't agree with this because are you content to just be in the mix every year? Is that what you want? You just want to be in the mix every year for the next 4 to 7 years? Or do you want to say, hey, we need a wide receiver. No more motherfuckers ain't getting open. We got to get better on the deep ball and the intermediate ball. And Ed Oliver might be done for the season. We're a good football team. The AFC's wide open. You're going to tell me you're not going to give up a day 2 pick, which, by the way, the Bills have not exactly crushed fucking day 2 picks either. You're not going to give up. If you could give up a day 2 pick and you could go get yourself a wide receiver that is better than anyone on this team right now except for Khalil Shakir. You give me a receiver and you're telling me he's definitely better than Palmer, Samuel, Keon Coleman. You're not going to give up a third rounder to go do that? Even if it's just a 1-year guy and that's it, and then he's gone? Or defensive tackle who's way better than, say, Daquan Jones. He's an upgrade there. He'll be a starter. He's one of your best 2 defensive tackles on your team instantly. You're not going to give up a day 2 pick for a half-year guy? Are you not trying to win Are you not trying to win a championship at all costs right now? Because I am. I'm sick of this shit.
All right. Well, I would like, you should do one day. You should look at like the trades in the past from the Super Bowl teams and see if there's a trade that's put people over the hump.
Rams.
Like Von Miller, the Rams. Yeah, I know. Aside from the Rams, are there other teams where a trade happened and it got them over the hump and put them to the
trades weren't as common back then. They're so much more common
now.
I'm
seeing the last 5 years. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
It is that. And bad. Oh, and number 8 on the Flushmore, because you went like a minute and a half talking about this trade thing of like, and that's gonna be the clip tomorrow to promote the show, and I'm just gonna nod and do nothing because anytime you promote our podcast, I'm just nodding while you're fucking talking, and then I go, good take, and then
I knew you were gonna say that. Last week I did do that. I can't remember what it was, but in fairness, I had two clips. One of them was equal banter. The other one was funny because as I was cutting it up, I knew that you were going to say that. I knew that was going to be your reaction.
I may just, you know what I might do from now on moving forward? When I can tell this is going to be a Pat clip, I'm just going to go, I'm just going to do an ugly face the whole time to distract everyone because I know it's going to come.
All right, we're about a minute or an hour 40 into. Let's put a bow and put a pin on this one for today. Got to 1,000 on the live, so I appreciate everybody who has stopped in. Again, we kind of still figuring stuff out.
Moran, baby. Yeah, go ahead.
We put a poll, or we asked people last week, do you want to go live right after the game, or would you rather continue going on at 9 o'clock? And the people who listen to the show or go live anyway, or with us, they all said 9 o'clock. So for now, we'll continue to do that. Next week, it'll only be a short gap because the Bills play at 4:30 against the Chiefs. So it'll be maybe an hour or so after that game. But anyway, I do appreciate everybody as always. For Joe from Queens, I'm Patrick. I'll be back. Bill's biggest takeaway, going to watch the film tomorrow because you know how much I love doing that on Mondays. We'll record Monday nights, and I don't know who the guest is going to be, but it will be somebody. Talk to you guys in. Thank you very much.